The broadcast is now starting.
All
All
right, good morning,
attendees are in
everyone.
listen-only mode.
Andrew Zimmerman here from the National Weather Service in Wakefield with our Monday morning briefing. As you can see here, we've got area of low pressure off the coast this morning that did bring us some rain overnight, still some lingering light rain, especially near the coast. But as you can see farther to the west, it is clear. So as that area of low pressure gradually moves off the coast today, we should see gradually improving conditions from west to east as we get later in the day here. Looking at our rainfall from that we observed pretty much late, I mean, really kind of overnight into early this morning. Did see some pretty decent rainfall, especially southeastern Virginia, northeastern North Carolina. Did see actually up to an inch to a little over 2 inches of rain there down toward Elizabeth City. So decent rain down there, and actually kind of a half. You come inland a little bit, half to 3/4 of an inch. As we get farther west, generally kind of, I mean, west and northwest of Richmond, didn't see quite as much out there. Maybe Farmville up to Louisa, those areas, maybe only at most a quarter of an inch. Most places a little less than that, but actually did see. I mean, portions of the area did receive a nice amount of rain. If I zoom in here a little bit, you can see some of those. Oh, now the radar. I actually did have the radar displayed there, radar estimate, and it actually thought it wasn't going to display for me, but I zoomed in and it did. You can see here. I'll turn that off, but did see kind of this corridor here from near around Elizabeth City over to the northern Outer Banks. Saw a little over 2 inches of rain. So definitely a decent rainfall. But looking ahead at the week here, after this rain moves out of here, it does look like we're looking at primarily dry conditions as the week goes on. We'll have a kind of a series of dry cold fronts move through the area. The first one comes through later today, and that looks like that brings a decent surge of northwesterly wind behind that. So we do have small craft advisories out for the marine area. Could see some gusts initially around 35 knots. So pretty decent wind initially behind that cold front. Do see area of high pressure will build in behind this cold front as we get into Tuesday night, early Wednesday. Can't rule out some patchy frost for inland areas early Wednesday morning. Do see by the time we get to Wednesday, there is this other area of low pressure and trailing cold front around the Great Lakes. So we will get a little breezy later in the day Wednesday with a southwest wind ahead of that cold front. That cold front quickly moves through Thursday. Again, that's another dry cold front. So looking, I mean, not any rain with that. And then that high remains near the coast on Friday. Generally dry Friday. This next front will bring a chance of rain as we get into Saturday. We're not looking at very high chances at this point, but it does look like we could get a decent shot of cooler air behind that cold front as we get kind of into later next weekend and into early the following week. As you can see here, our rainfall chances, they're going to drop off. They're going to drop off quickly here as we go through the day. And then really by the time we get to 6, I mean, really even 3 to 6 p.m., looks like we're drying out everywhere. We will be breezy the next few days here. Again, we have that wind behind this dry cold front tonight, and then getting breezy Wednesday afternoon ahead of that next cold front. As you can see here, I mean, throughout the week, generally looking at fairly seasonal temperatures, maybe some areas trending a little above normal ahead of that front Wednesday, and then again Friday, Saturday ahead of that next front, but certainly nothing out of the ordinary for the time of year, with featuring cool overnight lows as well. And then you can kind of see these lower rain chances coming back around next Saturday with that cold front, but again, not very high rain chances at this point. So we get into the following week. Generally, like I said, we could have does look like early next week we get a shot of below normal temperatures, but then later next week the trends are for some moderation. So overall, the outlook for next week is near normal temperatures and then kind of below normal precipitation. So kind of in a little bit of a entering a little bit of a drier pattern now. Our marine threat, you can kind of see this is mainly highlighting small craft conditions that we're going to see several rounds of throughout the week with these series of cold fronts. Again, peak winds generally at or just above 30 knot for peak wind gusts, although, as I mentioned, could see briefly around 35 knots late this evening, very early Tuesday morning. Wave heights, we'll see some elevated seas with this surge northwesterly wind. And then, that's pretty much going to cover everything here for the coming week. Not a whole lot to talk about. Things could be more active this time of year. So actually, we do have the next period of king tides is around November 5th through 7th. So it is a good thing we're kind of having offshore flow this week to keep those water levels down. But with that, I will go ahead and conclude the briefing for this morning. If you have any questions, just go ahead and drop them in the chat. I was having some issues here with speakers this morning, so it'll be best just to drop any questions in the chat. So if you've got any questions, go ahead and answer.